Metheny's best advice.
Well, I'm sitting here 40-some years later and I still haven't figured it out.
It is not scales, it's not arpeggios, but if you take it to heart, it will make you a better musician. It's Jordan Klemons with NYC Jazz Guitar Masterclasses. Today we're discussing Pat Metheny's #1 best advice for becoming a better jazz guitar player. It is not scales, it's not arpeggios, it's not chord tones, it's not practicing the metronome, it's not playing with musicians that are better than you, it's not memorizing tons of standards. It has nothing to do with playing. My guitar's not even plugged in today. But if you take it to heart, it will make you a better musician, a better composer, a better music teacher, a better person. It will improve every element of your life. I've personally used this exact advice to land the guitar position in 2 nationally touring bands, to put out 2 records as a leader, to book tons of gigs, to get into a master's program in New York City, to become an adjunct instructor at a jazz program in New York City, and to relearn to play music after dealing with some very serious medical issues that made me forget how to play and forced me to start over. So this is a powerful, powerful piece of advice that I want to go over with you today. I'm going to show you a video of Pat talking about it, and then I'm going to give you 2 PDFs. These are PDFs that I made for myself that I use all the time and that I use online with my jazz guitar coaching students. I'm going to give you 3 easy to follow steps to just start making this stuff happen for you today. And then finally, I'm going to give you a challenge right at the end of the video. So 2 free PDFs, 3 quick baby steps to follow to make it work, and a 30-day challenge to really see it through, okay? But first, let's check out Pat Metheny's video. He was giving a master class to a group of young jazz musicians. They looked like they were probably in high school, and he said this.
My first question, which is very difficult for people to answer, is what do you want to do? And that's a good first question to kind of individually reconcile with yourself. Because if all you want to do is say, I want to go down to the corner and order a Coke, we can do that pretty quick. But to keep invoking the name Miles Davis, if you want to kind of know what happened on 4 and More, well, I'm sitting here 40-some years later and I still haven't figured it out. So, it's like that.
What do you want to do? Now don't stop this video just yet. I know that's an annoying question. It makes me feel like I'm back in high school being sat down and lectured to by my parents and my teachers. But what are you going to do with your life? You never will amount to anything. But if for no other reason, take it from Pat. Trust in Pat. Consider this question. Each one of us needs to consider it.
And that's a good first question to kind of individually reconcile with yourself.
People go into 6-figure debt to go to jazz school, right, to study at Berkeley or Juilliard, and never answer this question for themselves. Berkeley and Juilliard and the degrees they give out are wonderful. I'm sure those students learn a lot, but those institutions cannot answer this question for you. Your parents can't answer it, I can't answer it, your wives or girlfriends, your children. Nobody can answer this except for ourselves. And ultimately, we can't move towards what we want if we're not really quite sure yet what it is we do want. Usually when I start working with a new Skype student or a new coaching student, I ask them, what are your goals? What do you want out of this? And I usually get a sort of generic, well, I just want to get better at jazz guitar. What does that really mean though? Do you want to get better so that you can go to college and get a degree? And if so, why do you want the degree? Is it because you want to be able to teach at a college, or do you just want to kind of make your family proud? Or is it a badge of honor? Do you want to put out records? Do you want to tour? Do you want to compose originals or play standards or both? Are you interested in gypsy jazz or bebop or modern? Do you want to play mostly solo guitar gigs or ensemble gigs? All of these are questions worth considering, and there's no right or wrong answer to any of them, but nobody can tell you what it is ultimately that you want to do. Why do you want to play music? What is it all about for you? So we're going to skip the 2 PDFs for just a minute. I'm going to skip over to the 3 steps I want you to take first. I'm going to give you step 1 right now, and that is to try and answer this question. What do you want out of life? What do you want people to know you for? What do you want to do before you leave this planet? I know that's a little dark, but dream big. I mean, do you want to be known for being a great educator? Do you want to just maybe play music and have fun as an amateur hobbyist and focus on raising a great family? That's a fantastic answer. But write it down. Figure out what it is and write it down. The trick to step one, don't negotiate with anything. Okay? Be a little kid again. Use your imagination and dream, and don't let your adult mind come in and say, well, that's not possible. Well, how are you going to do that? You can't do that. If your dream goal, let's say as an example, is to release 10 albums to critical acclaim, I have no idea how you're going to do that. But if you don't figure out what it is you want, you can't begin moving towards that. So we're going to use that as an example throughout this video. Be a little kid about it. Be childish, dream big, imagine, and don't be an adult. If you want to get 10 albums with Grammys, don't second guess yourself and say, well, how am I going to do that? That's impossible. That's the adult talking. Ignore that voice. Just dream it, write it down. Figure out what it is you want. What do you want to do? So that's step one. Step two, this is where I want you to download the free PDFs. The first PDF is the 3-month project planner. So remember, in step one, I talked about being like a little kid. Don't negotiate, don't compromise, just dream and imagine as big as you can. Figure out what it is you want to be known for, the legacy you want to leave behind yourself. In step two, it's time to be an adult. Step two is about saying, okay, if this is what I want, this big, huge picture, if this is what I want out of life, what's a small little project that I can undertake to begin moving towards that? So earlier we talked about the example of wanting to have 10 albums released to critical acclaim. Okay, so what's the first thing you have to do? Well, that completely depends on the person. It's going to look different for each one of you. Let's think about some examples. Maybe you already have 3 albums you've released, and maybe they're really good. Maybe you and your fans really like them, but nobody's ever heard of you. So maybe your 3-month project is to make contact with some PR agencies, right? Figure out how to get your music that already exists played on air. Figure out how to book some tour dates and see more of the country or the world to get more people to hear your music. That might be your 3-month project. Maybe you have several albums out, but you created them in your basement alone and have never played the music with anybody else. So maybe your 3-month project is getting a band together, teaching them the music, and getting some gigs happening to create some chemistry so you can go on tour and try and make more of a name for yourself. Maybe you're a good player, but you have 0 albums out. So your 3-month project might be, I need to get an album put together. Now, if you're a good composer already, you might just use that 3-month period to write some tunes. But maybe you're a good player, but a weak composer, so your 3-month project might be to find composers who you really dig and reach out to them and find one of them that will work with you. Spend 3 months writing and letting your teacher critique your work, and then you go back and edit it and try and make it better. It's a great thing to do. I've studied composition and arranging privately and got so much out of it, and that would make an amazing 3-month project. Maybe you're kind of just a weak player at this point, and that's okay. But no matter how good your compositions are, whether you have them or not, if you're a weak player, you're probably not going to be met with critical acclaim. So your 3-month project might be stepping up your practice game. Find a private teacher. Double or triple or quadruple the amount of time you're spending on your instrument every day. Start going to jam sessions once or twice or 3 times a week. Start hanging out with other musicians and just playing standards as often as you can. You can't record critically acclaimed albums if your playing is not on that level. So you can see how multiple people with the same life goal will end up having completely different 3-month projects. That's why it's so important to not negotiate your life goals in the first step, right? Just figure out the big picture, what you want. And then in step 2, you can be an adult and you audit yourself. Right? You see what's available in your own resources, what you are good at, what you're not good at, what you have accomplished, what you want to accomplish next, and then you map it out. So if you look at this first PDF on the left half of it, you'll see that I have it broken down at the top It has the 90-day vision for your project, what you want to get done in the next 90 days. And then below that, I break it into first month, second month, third month. This way, we have a relatively short-term project. I love 90 days, right? A 1-week goal, it's not going to do you any good. You can't get enough done in 1 week. A 1-year goal is too long. You can't envision the finish line. You can't see yourself progressing towards it in incremental steps. 3 months is like the perfect length. It's just long enough that it will push you to get disciplined and to start working, but it's just short enough that you can almost taste the end from day one. So once you know what your 90-day goal is, then break it down. What do you need to accomplish in month 1? What do you need to accomplish in month 2? And what do you need to accomplish in month 3? Again, this is going to look different for everybody. If your goal is to write 9 tunes for an album, maybe you want to write 3 tunes in each month. Maybe you want to write all 9 tunes in the first 1 to 2 months and then use the last 1 to 2 months to put a band together and start gigging and building chemistry. It's totally up to you and your unique situation. And you're the only one who can do this. Berkeley can't do this. I can't do this. Your family can't do this. Your band members can't do this. You have to sit down and take the time to think it out. Okay? On the right side of the page, you'll see the action checklist. Those are all the little things you need to get done individually to make sure that you've completed the entire 90-day project. If you don't finish it 90 days, who cares? If it takes a 4th month or a 5th month, whatever. Chances are good that even if you're behind schedule, you'll still get way more accomplished, way faster, in a much healthier direction that's personal to what you want than had you not even written all this stuff down in the first place. So you have nothing to lose except a few minutes of your time. Okay, remember I said I had 2 PDFs for you, 3 baby steps, and a challenge. I just gave you the first PDF and broke it down, and I gave you baby steps 1 and baby steps 2. Baby step 1 is dream up your big life goals. Step 2 is to break it down into a small, manageable 3-month project. Step 3 is when we get in and have to pound away and make it work. Step 1, we're just being a little kid about it. We're just dreaming, fantasizing. Step 2, we're being an adult and we're saying, what's one manageable thing I can do right now to move towards that? Step 3 is picking up the shovel. We have to get in and get dirty. There's no way around it. So download the second PDF. That's going to help us for step 3. If you look at the top of the PDF, the first section you see is big life dream goals again. Every morning when you wake up, find 3 to 5 minutes to write down your dream goals. There's 2 reasons for this. Reason 1 is that over time, your dream goals are going to change. So every morning when you wake up, spend just a couple minutes, write down your dream goals again, and do not go back and copy them from yesterday. Let them evolve. If you feel a different desire today than you did yesterday, write it down. Over time, it will help you refine what you really do want. It's like putting your ego through a furnace. It's going to burn away all the garbage, leave you with what ultimately drives you. The other reason I recommend you do this every morning, or as close to every morning as you can, is most of us are stuck in the rat race. We wake up, we immediately check our email, we immediately check our text messages, we immediately jump headfirst into all the things we have to do for that day, and so we're always trying to keep up with life, and we never have a chance to just reflect back on what we care about and why we're doing any of this. So give yourself the respect, give your life the respect of having 3 minutes. Set your alarm 3 minutes earlier and just get up and do this. It sets your entire day up built around what it is that you want to give to the world, what you want to present to the world and accomplish while you're here. Such a helpful way to set your day up. The next block is the motivational quote. I'm a very word-oriented person. I like reading and listening to speakers. And anytime I kind of come across a particularly motivating quote, something that really wakes up part of me, I just like to jot it down. It helps me, again, kind of fuel up for the day. So I start off by reminding myself what my life goals are. Then I just jot down a really empowering quote, something that like gets me jacked up for the morning so that I can just jump in and start working. Okay? Below the motivational quote, you'll find my 3 to-do lists. There's a music to-do list, a non-music to-do list, and then a contact list. These are pretty self-explanatory. Basically, in order for me to accomplish my goals, there are musical things I need to do every day. There's non-musical things I need to do every day. And then there's my contacts list. I'm by nature a very introverted person, but music is a social thing. We practice alone, but we perform with other people, we learn from other people, we teach other people, we book gigs using other people. So every day I like to start off by making a list of the people I need to reach out to that day. If I'm booking gigs, it might be some venue owners. If I'm trying to schedule a rehearsal, it might be musicians. If I have coaching responsibilities, I might jot down one or two of my coaching students to remind me, make sure you email this person or call this person before the day ends. And I usually put a little note next to their name to remind me what it is I need to talk with them about. I also sometimes, if I don't have any music-related contacts, sometimes I'll jot down my parents or my brother or an old friend that I haven't spoken to in a while. It's just a good way to keep in contact with people. The other day, I had an old friend that I hadn't spoken with in a while on there, literally just to say hello. And I shot him a text message to say hey, and the conversation sort of morphed into something that might turn into a work opportunity for me. So remember, like, other people are important. So use the contacts list effectively. It makes you a good friend, it makes you a good family member, it makes you a better musician, and sometimes it'll open doors for you that you otherwise would not have access to. On the other side of the page, the right side, at the top, you'll see some blank guitar tab and some blank notation paper. That's just because if I'm in the middle of a busy, chaotic day, or if I'm in the flow of a good practice session and I find a cool riff or a really beautiful chord voicing, sometimes I don't want to stop what I'm doing and practice that other thing. Sometimes I really need to stick with where my head is at the moment. So I'll just quickly jot down that idea and then get back to what I was in the middle of. That way I don't break the flow of whatever it is I was working on, but I also can remember this other idea. Because I can't tell you how many cool tune ideas or chord voicings or melodies I've come up with while I was practicing that I never wrote down and that are just gone. I just forgot them. And that's okay, but this helps prevent that. Underneath that, you'll see my daily listening. Sometimes if I listen to something new and I really dig it, I might make a note to myself of what it was. Or sometimes somebody will recommend, hey, you need to check out this album, or watch this concert performance. I just like to jot down little notes of things like that so that I don't forget them. Just little reminders, okay? It just puts it all into one place so I don't have notes everywhere. It's on this one sheet that I stay on top of all day. After the daily listening, big dream goals again. Okay, this time it's the evening version. We gave ourselves 3 minutes in the morning to start our day, reminding ourselves what our big dream goals are. At the end of the day, we want to do it again. It's like a bookend to our day. We want to start and end our day reminding ourselves why we're doing all this, what the goal is, what the dream is. Don't go back and look at the mornings and copy it word for word. Just write it out again. Give yourself the respect of 3 minutes to sit in silence and just reflect on what it is you care about and how you want to make the world better and how you want to craft your life, whatever that might be. They might not really be music related. That's okay. They don't have to be. But if you want to get better at jazz guitar, this will help significantly. Once you've done the big dream goals for the evening, the very last thing I like to do for myself for the day, I have it on the paper, but I actually don't always write it down. Very often it's just a mental practice that I do as I'm climbing into bed. Literally the last thing I do at the end of the day before I close my eyes and fall asleep, I just like to reflect back on the day and make quick little notes of all the things that I accomplished, even tiny things. Things I accomplished, things I'm grateful for. I don't like to go to bed feeling like a failure. It's not a good mentality to go to sleep with or to wake up to. We want to end the day on a win. I want to end feeling good and proud. Okay? So look back over the day. Maybe you learned a new tune. Maybe you picked up a new student. Maybe you wrote a new tune. Maybe you took one tiny little baby step. Maybe you didn't accomplish any goals, but you reached out and you talked to your parents who you haven't spoken to in a week. Any tiny little thing that you can think of that you're grateful for. Maybe someone reached out to you that you hadn't spoken to in a while, right? That's something to be grateful for. Like, be happy about all the little wins you had for that day. Musical, career-wise, emotional, social, whatever they are. give yourself the last couple of minutes of time before you fall asleep to just exist in a mentality of gratitude and appreciation. And if you literally can't think of anything, then be grateful for the fact that you're giving yourself that space and that you know that in the morning you'll be able to wake up and give it another shot. Because not a lot of people will take 2 minutes to just think about what they're grateful for. It's a powerful mechanism. I've read studies that it actually changes like the biochemistry of the human brain when we just sit and feel gratitude. So be grateful that you're even self-aware enough to give yourself that time. That's the best way to end the day, so that way you can get a good night's rest, wake up, start the whole thing over. Every little baby step you take on these daily practice journals should be moving you towards your 3-month project. And your 3-month project comes from your big dream goals. So you can see it just becomes a big positive feedback loop. Your big dream goals tell you what your 3-month project should be, which tells you what to do every day, which as you accomplish it will amp up your big dream goals, which will inform what your next 3-month project will be. It's like going to college, right? You do a semester of class. You don't go to 4 years of the same class. You do roughly 3 months with one teacher on one topic. You undertake a project, you finish it, you move on to the next thing. You undertake a project, you finish it, you move on to the next thing. But you have your basic major, right? The topic that you're trying to accomplish, the career you're trying to get into. So you have your big picture goal for your time at school, and then you have your semesters, and then you have your weekly assignments. It's the same idea. We're just implementing them on ourselves rather than paying someone else 6 figures to implement it on us and to give us grades for it. So remember, I said I was going to give you 2 PDFs, 3 baby steps, and a challenge. I've given you the 2 PDFs. I've given you the 3 baby steps. Big dream goals. Okay, dream big, be an adult, and figure out a 3-month project you can undertake, and then get to work. Those are your 3 baby steps. Now, my challenge to you is to print these 2 PDFs up and begin moving through the 3 steps. Figure out your dream goal, figure out a 3-month project you can undertake, and then begin working on it every day. And I'm going to comment down below in the YouTube comment section. When you comment, it's going to tell all of us the date that you wrote it in. There's no hiding behind it. I want you to go down below in the comment section and tell us. You don't have to tell us your big dream goals if you don't want to. You're welcome to share those. But tell us what your 3-month project is, okay? And commit to it for at least the first month. Do this for 1 full month. Try and get through the 3-month project. But my challenge to you is just get started and see how much of that first month you can accomplish. And in a month, I want you to come back to this video and I want you to reply to your original comment and give us all the 1-month update. Did you accomplish it? Did you fall behind? Did you work faster than you expected and get more done? If you decide to continue moving forward, then every month for the next 3 months, come back and give us an update and let us know if you finished the whole project, okay? I hope you will, and I encourage you to see it all the way through the first 90 days, but at the very least, I challenge you to commit to it for the first month. Use both the PDFs and see how much you grow as a musician. See how much it refines the actions you take every day, the things you work on, the goals you're setting for yourself, the progress you can make, right? 30 days, you can get a lot of work done in 30 days if you know what you're doing. And ultimately, it comes back to Metheny's question.
What do you want to do?
Hope you did the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon on YouTube so you can get notified every time I put a new video up. Comment below with your 90-day challenge. If you're watching on my blog, don't forget to join the newsletter so I can shoot you messages every time I come out with new blog posts. Check out the PDFs. And as always, happy practicing.